Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. It's our third video of the day that Instagram and Facebook went down. Oh, I know. What are you going to do with yourselves? You're realizing you had kids you didn't know exist. You're like, Jimmy, you've grown so much. I haven't noticed you since I got in Dave Neal's Facebook group, also known as Dave Neal's Community. You can go check that out when your Facebook does come back. In the meantime, this is what $20 will get you in my neighborhood. Look at that. Wow. Can you believe this? Hold on. One more. Do me a favor. Like this video if you don't mind. Yeah, that's a $20 purchase right there. Spent about 3 hours trying to figure out how to get it to work. But if you don't mind, give me a like and subscribe and hit that little alert button. Oh, there it is right there. Okay, let's get into it. Today's video is three-part. First, I'm going to show you the new Bachelor and new host, some photos that were taken of them in a park. Not a big story, but that'll be the feature that gets you to click. Second, we've got Tayshia and some people calling her out for her good charity work that she's doing. No good deed goes unpunished. And then after that, we'll talk about why Facebook and Instagram might be down, some conspiracies about it, and how it relates to how we receive news. So we'll get into all that. Again, don't mind me. Do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe. I just hit the button. There it is. Hit the like button and subscribe. And we'll get right into it. But first, look at that. I got a show next Friday, October 15th. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be in North Hollywood. If you live in the Valley, I know some of you guys do. Come out to that show. It's a free show, donations only. Let me know if you are coming. Let me know how many people you're bringing. We'll take photos. We'll have fun. It's an outdoor backyard show. Super safe. And laughter is a good medicine, so you can come over there and laugh with us. All right, so let's get right into it. First things first, here are the photos of the new Bachelor. And again, this is one of those like quasi-spoilers. I blurred it out in the thumbnail just for the people that are like, I thought you were in a spoiler account. It's like, listen, Samantha, I am what I am, okay? So here we go. You got to click the spoiler. Let's go to the photos. The Bachelor's new host, Jesse Palmer, has a heart-to-heart with star Clayton Echard after being named as Chris Harrison's replacement. And of course, the first thing people mention are that they look exactly alike, which, look, they both have large jaws. They could both eat steak without a knife. We get it. Well done. They just chew gum nonstop to get these alpha male bodies. What are they eating over there in the Midwest? Jesse's from Canada. We know he's just eating elk and caribou, but obviously in Missouri, that's some whole milk body right there. All right, so anyway, that's some photos of them. They're just in a park in my nice home city of Los Angeles, and someone took some creepy photos. I'm assuming it's not staged because I don't believe this was during the photo shoot. I believe these are just paparazzi photos. Now, why would they be together when they're not shooting? I don't know. Maybe he's actually offering him some advice. Jesse just started this week and already has to go back to, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Connecticut every Saturday for College Game Day. Connecticut is home to where they film ESPN, so he's all over the map. He's getting his miles in. But you know, when you know, it's so funny when some people comment, "Who's this Jesse Palmer guy? Is he even qualified?" The dude hosted a couple other shows for ABC and Bachelor. You know, the Surfer Games or whatever. He hosts all of this, you know, college football. He played professional football. The dude's qualified, okay? He's a and he was former Bachelor for the newbies out there. So yes, he's qualified. Let's read some comments. They look exactly alike. WTF, the conversation went like this. We're not so different, you and me. They look like father and son. Well, I wouldn't say father and son because Clayton is 29 and Jesse is in his 40s, I believe. So, I mean, I guess technically maybe it could be father-son. It would have to be very early, in his early years, sowing his oats, maybe. This is bizarre to look at because we don't know Clayton at all yet. So I see the picture with both of them, and it's so far removed from Bachelor Nation that my brain can't even process it as being from the upcoming season. To clarify, I do know that Jesse is a former Bachelor, but it was so long ago that I don't see him and immediately identify with it. Listen, excuse me. I get it. We're gonna watch Michelle's season starting October 16th, around that date. And then we're going to get to know Clayton. We'll see how far he gets, and we'll see about, the next season. By the time, and I'm assuming due to the edit, they can just manipulate us. By the time Clayton gets voted off or self-eliminates or whatever, that jumps a fence, whatever the hell he does, by that time, He'll probably be a fan favorite due to the edit because they know how to edit someone to our liking. And unless there's some sort of Greg Grippo fiasco, we're going to be rooting him on. So we'll have to see how it all goes. Someone said, if you asked me who the Bachelor was between these two men without knowing what I know now, I couldn't give you an answer. Well, that's a credit to Jesse's youthful looks there. But anyway, okay, so that's the story. Not much else to say about them. Let's go into the next one. Here's what's interesting. This is an interesting story I found on Reddit. I didn't want to lead with this as the thumbnail story just because I wanted to leave out the bigots that would click on this just to like talk trash. We wanted to leave them out. Which, by the way, on a side note, unrelated to this, the comments I got or am getting from my Ari and Lauren video are hilarious. Most people are like, Dave, proud of you. This is why we follow your channel. You call out the BS. And then a couple are like, you're so jealous of Ari. You're just so bitter towards Ari. And it's like, I guess that's what you get for calling out BS when you see it. People think that I'm calling out the BS because I wish I was a junior pro race car driver or whatever it is. Living a happy life. Love what I do. Thank you guys all so much for the support. But I mean, by all means, the people that are so blinded to see that Ari is just robbing people with, by taking his PPP loan money. It's a whole nother video. Anyway, just wanted to comment that I read your comments and I laugh at them. When you comment something that I deem to be stupid, I show it to my fiance and I go, look at this idiot. I'm not calling all of you that. Most of you are very smart. Most of you challenge me with smart opinions. But some are very, and again, this goes across any platform on any social media. Some of y'all are idiots. Again, if you get offended by that, maybe you're one of them. I don't know. If you don't get offended, you go, oh, Dave's talking trash, then you're probably good enough with your reading comprehension to know it's not about you. It ain't about you. Anyway, No White Saviors is calling on Tayshia, her World Vision campaign and sharing images of children. So this is something that's sort of new on the newer side to me. But when you donate to certain causes and you put yourself out there virtue signaling, look, I donated. People go, oh, look, you're not helping the problem. You're just. It's kind of racist. And the question here will be, how can Tayshia have a problem being a white savior when she's not white? She's of mixed race. In today's episode of You Don't Have to Be White to Engage in White Saviorism. So, hey, it's fascinating stuff. I'm going to read about this. I encourage you guys to keep an open mind with me and sort of see what's going on here. The problem that I have with a lot of times when people comment on other people's stuff is that there's this call-out culture that's done in such bad faith that it's hard not to be defensive about it. So anyway, Tayshia posted that she's promoting the World Vision campaign where she's raising money to help children overseas, I think primarily in Kenya. So anyway, I don't have access to her Instagram right now. It's down. We'll get into that. But here's what she said. Here's what Tayshia said. When I returned from that trip, I made a promise to myself to focus all of my charitable giving to helping children, and now I am asking for you to join me. Let's unite to change the world for the better, as you have the power to impact a child's entire life right now. You have one more day left to sponsor a child before next week's party in Tinango, Kenya. Apologies if I mispronounced that, where the children will choose their sponsors. Join me today on this life-changing experience for both you and the child. Link to sponsor is in my bio. So grateful for you all, XO. No White Saviors on Instagram wrote this. I'll tell you more about who they are in a second. Never heard of them before. All new to me. Genuinely want to have a conversation with you about putting out content like this. Okay, well, that's a good start. They started saying, hey, let's have a conversation here. They said, we hold World Vision USA responsible as well. They know better at this point and shouldn't be encouraging you to make fundraising advertisements like this. There are ways to create awareness and encourage donations that don't, one, center you, a temporary guest, as the hero of the story. Guest to Kenya, I believe is what you're saying. Here I am, here's a photo of me with selfies over, surrounded by others. I think we all understand that kind of it comes off tacky. That was in the 1990s. You'd be surrounded by kids and you'd be like, look, we're making a difference. And then you'd, smoke a cigarette and get on your private jet and leave. Number 2, focus on those on the ground actually meeting needs. Number 3, don't feature images of or videos that perpetuate the white Western savior, i.e., you in a sea of nameless black children you do not know. do not have any substantial relationships with, and who did not all consent to having their images shared on your social media for this purpose. So essentially, it sounds like the No White Saviors movement is saying, do the work, but don't share it in a way where you come off as the hero. Okay, I'm listening. White savior. The term white savior refers to a white person who provides help to non-white people in a self-serving manner and is sometimes combined with savior complex in descriptions of white savior complex. Just like the military industrial complex, the wedding industry industrial complex, the white savior industrial complex, like any complex, is a group of people and companies that would work together to either profit or create an industry out of a specific subject. Does that make sense? These are my own words now, so kind of hard to explain. Africa has a history of slavery and of colonization, and due to this history, Africans find the white savior attitude to help them deeply patronize the white savior attitude to help them deeply patronizing and offensive. So, like we're saying, the idea that I'm just going to come over there and help people, and look, credit where it's due. That's what Blake is right now. He's in Africa fighting against poachers. Some people would say that that's a white savior complex. I think that's a little complicated. I was having this discussion with my fiance. At what, isn't PR a good thing to show that there's rhinos that are going extinct because of the illegal tusking, what's it called? Taking the ivory, all these things. It's not like every charity it's bad. It's the ones that center, like they were saying, the self. Like if I went to Africa and was like, look, I'm coming, I brought bags of rice, people would be like, okay, listen, that's not thank you so much, but bye-bye now. You know what I mean? So it is complicated. I'm not, and again, where Tayshia stands with this, with this past article, with them saying that, what's the term that they used here? You don't have to be white to engage in white saviorism. That's above my pay grade, folks. That's above my pay grade. But let's go to their website, nowhitesaviors.org, powered by Kusamama Africa. It started as a conversation amongst friends who saw the need to address the white savior industrial complex as a symptom of white supremacy, an area of discussion which had been strongly ignored in development and aid work on the continent. The continued portrayal of white people as heroes of every story from time immemorial catalyzed in the conversation around creating strategies to decolonize community development in Africa. So, we are a female-led group of activists who are strongly passionate about challenging the white savior complex, but also working towards justice and action. We are registered as a Ugandan community-based organization that is transitioning to an NGO. Why is a white person on your team? The white person on our team identifies as a white savior in recovery. And she offers her perspective as someone who has been a part of the problem and still is. Her work focuses on holding her fellow white people accountable, taking on some of the labor that is not appropriate for African people who have to deal with white supremacy every day. Does Africa need foreign aid? Yes, with no strings attached. For every dollar in, $24 goes out. Africa needs foreign back pay in reparations and a halt to looting in predatory relationships. Now, without being an expert, a historian, on colonization, we know that there have been multiple genocides that have taken place by different people in power that have looted and robbed so many different types of resources from the Congo. It ain't pretty. So now, and again, tough conversation to talk about, right? But trying to wrap our heads around it. Now there's an industrial complex with the charity to repair the damages caused by people that look the same. Do you know what I mean? So if white people colonized Africa, looted it, there was genocide, there was imperialism, all these different things. Now it's reduced to rubble. There's obviously factions where there's wars and different political, not conspiracies, but there's corruption, of course, and it exists all over the world, right? So now there's the white savior industrial complex that's going in saying, hey, we'll fix this. It's like, no, you kind of created this. So I understand the irony that's there. Shouldn't Africa be grateful that white people and any other persons in positions of privilege are helping? The question is, how are you helping? If your need to help is not helping to solve the root causes of the most pressing problems on the African continent, but rather creating a dependency pattern and upholding white supremacy, then please do not help us. The very systems that give you the power and resources to help us are the ones that are unjustly exploiting us. And we believe that we deserve much more than charity. All right, there you go. Don't give us Band-Aids. Help us fix it from the inside out. Is there a time when Western expertise is necessary? There is a tendency to think that white people are experts in everything, even when they are not, and thus to prefer them over Africans. While some of these experts may have valuable skills to share, they cannot accomplish much without collaboration with African leaders, experts, and community members. How can I help without portraying white savior? Okay, this is a good question. People go, well, if I can't do this, how could I possibly help without looking like a white savior? The best approach to helping without portraying yourself as a white savior is an ethical one that explicitly and implicitly identifies ethical principles and questions as guidelines to making decisions about helping. Well, that's above my pay grade. I have no idea what that means. I have to read that a few more times. I'm not considered the smartest apple in the orchard. I'm not. Okay, you get it. What are your thoughts on volunteerism? Okay, volunteerism is, I think, what a lot of people have problems with. It's like, you come in, you stay in a nice place, you get to see the African Serengeti, and then you give a few bucks to some starving kids, or so that they put it. It's like, that's a volunteerism, maybe. And there is a huge market for that. It's like, look, if you want to go on a safari, just call it what it is, but you're not volunteering your time. You're getting your own life experience. So they say, if you don't have the qualifications, simply don't do it. Empathy and love shouldn't be your only reasons. You need more than that in order to make a lasting and beneficial change. Give your tourist dollars to Africa business and donate to African-led organizations, which will support the people who are investing in these communities. This is a great example. I did a project on the Rwandan genocide, and obviously we as the United States and the United Nations didn't call it a genocide, and there were hundreds of thousands of people murdered in a genocide in Rwanda. But because there was no oil to be had, we didn't find weapons of mass destruction. Because when you follow the money or lack thereof, we let things lay. If there's a strategic reason to be in a country, our military goes, we need to be in that country, whether it's the Cold War or, like we said, finding, faulty evidence that there's weapons of mass destruction. We'll start wars if there's money to be had, oil, rich land, or other certain resources. Afghanistan, they say the resources there are the lithium to make batteries, whatever the case may be. We looked at Rwanda. We said, now there's that fight. That's not a genocide. That's just conflicts. And it's like, how do we let people down? It's just sad. And it's sad that a lot of us don't know the recent history. We're talking the 90s, the recent history of what has gone down, not only there, but all over. Some of the greatest, monsters of the world in history were colonizing Africa and committing heinous war crimes. And we look at it and go, yeah, but let's just why don't we just donate a little bit, So clearly, I think the mission here is say, you're not a savior. You helped make these problems. The best you can do is the capitalistic sort of put money into these programs. And who knows, maybe there's like some Elon Musk, solar energy, startup that can be done, and we can support that. I'd be, my DMs are always open if there's any other ways where we can support. But of course, what has happened is, as other countries have come in and just robbed, and now the highway, the different countries, China and others, that are going into Africa to literally rob them blind, those are the big problems. But of course, taking a photo and saying, I support someone because I donated X amount of dollars per month. And I think that's good. I think the problem that they're saying with white saviorism is when you center yourself as the hero. So maybe that's the biggest issue with Tayshia is if, and again, this isn't without any fault of her own, it's probably just very naive to these issues even existing, but to someone like Tayshia to maybe not center yourself as like the person who comes in like Bachelorette here to save the day and try to find more sustainable ways to improve the situation from the inside out. those are just some thoughts that I've gotten from reading all this. There's probably no less than 20 different ways in which I'm coming off the wrong way here. But I think like we all can do is just use our critical thinking skills to think more about how these problems are just like we're letting them bleed out and not going deeper. So I know I'm already at 20 minutes, but let me just read a few comments that have the biggest score here. I'm not a betting person, but I would bet that Tayshia doesn't acknowledge this in any way whatsoever. She's totally apolitical, doesn't risk posting anything, even slightly controversial, opinionated on her social media, and she won't risk bringing any more attention to their comment. Tayshia is at JoJo levels of being apolitical, possibly even more so than JoJo. As a black woman, I love seeing Tayshia's success and I root for her overall happiness. But this is exactly the reason I can't blindly and wholeheartedly be a stan for Tayshia. I find her lack of opinions and support behind causes that affect people who look like her deeply, deeply hurtful. She can proudly and loudly support the Free Britney movement, but on everything else, she gives a very canned and careful reaction as to not upset her largely white, Christian, conservative followers, and that just doesn't sit well with my spirit. I've kind of said the same thing in a few different ways with Tayshia, where like she's unwilling to like comment on certain things that might be controversial. With my channel, someone left a comment earlier today going, "Dave, I don't follow you to hear your political beliefs," and I was like, peace. You don't have to agree with everything I have to say, but I am a commentary channel and I'm going to voice my opinion. And if I'm wrong or get something wrong, I'm willing to relook at the facts, re-educate myself, and make a new opinion. And I think that's where we would all benefit from if we can look at this. Like, look, we all let parents, we had a kid we donated money to growing up in like El Salvador, and we'd get a photo and we'd hear about them and the child supplies. Like other people have commented, and who knows, maybe those programs, maybe a large percentage of the charity went to administrative costs. Like most charities, most of them are kind of abusive in the sense that even though they're a charity, there's money that's not going directly to where you want it to go, and we have to do our research to find out which charities are the ones that are doing a good job. It's interesting because her follows and likes show she's a liberal Democrat, Tayshia, but you never know that from any of her content other than the odd regram when big things happen. Not my place to tell Tayshia what to do with her following and with her political... Oh, why are all the buttons coming up? Oh, I need to figure that out. Sorry, I'm getting hit with all the alerts right here. Not my place to tell her what to do and what message to show. I'm just reading that other people have said from their kind of different, diverse backgrounds that they want to see her do more with her platform. It must be tough to be Tayshia, to be getting the different shots, immunities, and this and that to go abroad and spend your time, resources, and platform doing something charitable. It must be tough to do that and then find out that there's like a coalition of people that are saying you're doing the wrong thing. And she's like, "What do you mean? I could have just hung by a pool and cashed paychecks all day," which is true too. So hopefully we can have these conversations without a defensive-ness that comes from being called out. And it would be nice if someone like Tayshia could listen to them and be like, all right, maybe I'll start looking at African-owned businesses in these different countries I'm going into and find ways to promote those businesses on more of a global scale, if possible, so that we can inject money into some of these cultures versus just going there to, take a couple photos and pretend like we're doing some good work. Very fascinating stuff, folks. We tread lightly in these conversations. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm looking for the buttons right here. They're not showing up. Anyway, there it is. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the alert button, and like this video. And we'll be back. Tons of content all day tomorrow as we approach the finale for Bachelor in Paradise. In the meantime, enjoy this time away from Facebook and Instagram. I'll see you in a little bit. Bye now.